Hello. There we are. We're back. Let's get this set up and then we'll get chat going again. We gotta shrink. Keep going. There we go. It's all ready to install. Is chat all ready to come back though? Yep. There we go. Oops. Is it this one? Yes, it is that one. And then this one. Not that time. Oops. Nope, not that time. There we go. Should be good. Tint on the plotter, is the liner facing up or down? It is facing up. Or sorry, the liner is facing down. Tint side. You're cutting into the tint side and not the liner. If you cut all the way through, it doesn't keep structure and it just bunches up in the machine. But you're cutting at your pattern, so we want it to cut the film side. Would you use 15 or 20? It depends on the window. More often than not, 20 is fine. But if your factory tint is a little bit on the light side, then you would use the darker film. It helps to have a tint meter to be sure. What if I use 5 over factory? Then it's really dark. I mean, you're taking like roughly a 20%, and then you're applying a 5% on top of it. It's very dark. I've done it. I've done a 2% over it too. That's super dark. Card this down, hop over to this side, make sure we're lined up. Look at that corner. Look how nice that matches. Are they gonna notice? Probably not, but we know. How long does a roll of film last in a garage? Indefinitely. There isn't any type of expiration age to it. tuck these corners in, pull the center up, go back to a corner, tuck, 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 tuck. Anything like this, you take the shank, see how that just went in there? Use the pry tool as a pry tool. And then it drops in. I didn't know if the adhesive was affected. Yeah, not that I've ever known. So there's no guidelines for it. It may be, you know, if something's been sitting for 5 to 10 years, maybe. But the films are probably substantially better at that point, or it might not be worth it. But certainly, a couple years, yeah, no issues for sure. How bad is it to tint over tint? I wouldn't warranty it, but I wouldn't expect anything abnormal to really happen. So if it's like your own car, go nuts. If it's for a client, you just can't promise that they won't have any issues, because if you do, and they do have an issue, well then you gotta double tint it again or something to try and bring it back to where it was. So that's why I would just don't warranty it. But let them know ahead of time. Is there a recommendation of time not to use Windows? Well, I use Mac, so I never have to use Windows anymore. Mine has like 75% in it and does basically nothing. I don't want to remove it. Well, it should do a lot for the heat, but yeah, 75% is going to do absolutely nothing for glare and sunlight. That's the point of 75. And I know it sucks to have to remove perfectly good tint. It just adds costs. And if the tint's in good shape, I would just tint over it. Just run with it. And if something peels, I mean, it's 75. You could just apply a regular film over it and it would look slightly different, but not enough to really notice. All right, roll this down a little bit. Clean this top edge. Squeegee it off. Grab a tri-edge card, swipe down there, swipe down there. Rinse, rinse, spray. You messed it up. How did I mess it up? It's not even on the window yet. I mean, I could. I'm tweaking, my bad. Oh, okay. Appreciate it. You could have just doubled down super hard. I appreciate that you didn't. We still could mess it up, and then you would, what is that, a prophet or something like that? Time traveler. And then your tweaking is like, oh, I can see the future. Then you got superpowers. But if it's only for window tint, then we'll see how limited they are. How often do you go live? Here and there. I try and go live as often as possible. We usually have like a full car that we stream start to finish, and we try and do it most days of the week. If you get a speck of contamination, do you replace it? Sometimes. It depends on how bad it is and where it is. So it's very normal to have like a real small itty bitty dot that you can touch up, or a couple of them, that nobody would notice unless you point them out. There's gonna be like a certain level of acceptability, but I'll tell you, it's never something that you're just gonna like, if a customer notices something, some of them are more than understanding, or it wouldn't bother them or whatever, but you can absolutely, like, a small hair, small crease, a larger dirt speck, a small clump of stuff in the wrong spot, so which might be like a quote unquote acceptable level, but it just, you know, once you see it, you don't unsee it. So unfortunately, there's no like universal acceptable guidelines. They try, there are, and some shops actually reference those. But I'll tell you, it doesn't make customers happy. So at the end of the day, your business is about providing a service to your customers. And if your own customers are not happy with your quality of work, that's not a good business. So I always say you want some type of like, you want to get an impression of very clean when you look at your window. When you have to really start looking close and hunting for stuff, you've done a really good job, and you just hope you don't find anything obvious. So when I wipe this off, looking it over, awesome. I don't see any speckling up here, creases, hairs, looks great. Now if I get really close and I'm like, no, like if I'm hunting and then I see like one little speck, it's super clean. But then if I saw like, oh, there's this thin little dust hair right here, and when a customer is looking through their mirror, they see it. It might be hard to find, but it would drive you crazy. But if a similar type of imperfection was down here in a lower corner or something like that, Would somebody notice it? Probably not. But on the off chance that somebody does see something like that, and they're like, hey, I noticed this. Is there anything we can do about that? Absolutely we can. We can try and make it look better. How do you shrink the film to the window? So window film shrinks directionally. It's out the top and bottom, or, you know, whichever way that you oriented the roll when you put it on. So typically that's out the top and bottom. We're gonna do a process called snap shrinking. I wet the whole window. I'm gonna squeegee a good amount of the water out of it. Then I'm gonna grab my heat gun. That was a funny sound. And I'm just gonna heat the bottom edge here. So I'm gonna lift it. And then there, that's shrunk, it's ready to install. Why did you tint the outside of the back window and the inside? Or maybe the front window is installed and the back window isn't installed yet. Huh? Just maybe. We're getting there. So we're gonna cover a door panel. We're gonna grab a razor blade. Did you use a heat gun with the plastic cover still on the tint? Mm-hmm. All the cutting, the shaping slash shrinking, molding, that all happens with the liner still on. The only time we remove the liner is when it goes to get installed. It's then completely exposed, and it's a fly trap. I think the vehicle shut off again. Does that mean we're nearing the end? Let's lower this. So then we're going to scrape this upper part. Let's roll this down just a little bit more. So first time I've seen heat shrunk window tint. It's how everybody does it. Stuff on every vehicle needs to get heat shrunk. All right, we're gonna wipe off the top edge of the window. Yep, liner's facing you when you're shrinking. So all your cutting, shrinking, prep, it's mirrored. So what that means is liner's on the outside, sticky side is facing you, and as soon as we like peel this sheet, you have the adhesive facing me, right? So it just goes right on the inside. Why do you still use Seal Guard when you have Insta gel? I think taping is still better than just using gel. One of them is like a for sure, hold it, it's not gonna bleed in. And the other one is absolutely a way to protect the sides, but you still might have a little bit of bleed in. At least that's just my thinking. Also, I've been taping things for so long that like, there's this certain level of like, I've been doing it that way for a long time. Takes a little while to break a habit like that. Because there's still that like, there's like on a felt seal, right? It's like, there still might be a little bit that bleeds in. So, I don't know. I trust the tape a little bit more. But I absolutely am using the gel on like every windshield that I do. I kind of just forgot to use it on the doors today though. Will dish soap work as a Sophie solution on a DIY job? Yeah, it would. There's guys that love using dish soap for window tint installation. Degreasers aren't really recommended, but I mean, like I've used it for longer than I'd like to admit. I've got 15 on my shield. It looks even lighter than 20. That doesn't make any sense.
It's ceramic. It looks lighter from the inside.
Oh, yeah. I mean, did you have the same windshield tinted in 20 and then you swapped it for 15? How far do you pull it down when two-staging? Not very far. That is like one thing a lot of new people mess up early on. Like, there are stickers that will sit on a window and never peel. If your film has a good adhesive and you lock the whole bottom edge down nice and clean, I think the biggest important thing is hiding all your gaps and getting past that first little seal. If you do that, you're just not gonna have issues. So a lot of people will take their pattern, so let's say I cut it here, right? And I dragged it down. A lot of new people will drag it all the way down to the bottom of like this trim. It's way too far. I just drag it down to like the edge of this. We're going in like a quarter to a half inch at the most. We just want to clear that seal. That's going to make your installations far easier when you're two-staging. It's not that I've never had windows peel, but like, we're tinting cars every week. If I had an issue with this, I absolutely would not continue doing it this way, because then I'm just fixing stuff for customers all the time, rather than tinting new cars. What ratio of Johnson would you use with Geo? I'd ask other people at Geo. I just don't think any level of baby shampoo is strong enough. I just ran into so many tacking issues. Like, for example, with tint slip, I'll use 1 ounce per gallon. With baby shampoo, I could use double the amount and still have severe tacking issues. It was the same problem I had with slime. It was the same problem that I had with all type. It's like, I have videos. It's like, look at how much soap that I've added and look at it just like sticking like crazy to the glass. So I don't like baby shampoo at all with Geo. When I used baby shampoo, I would add 1 ounce of Dawn. So it was 3 ounces of baby shampoo and 1 ounce of Dawn. I think that mix was amazing. And then Geo told me, we don't recommend using Dawn with our window films. And I'm like, the fuck you don't? What have I been telling people for a while now? They're like, degreasers aren't safe for window film. I'm like, well, then what do I use? And they're like, oh, you just use all type. Fuck you, you're not a tinner. And that's where tint slip came from. How do you push the bottom of the tint that quick? Do you recommend starting with the corners? Repetition? It's like the only way that I install, and I've been installing that way for a long time. But yeah, I start with working the corners, get them started. Then I pull the part that's resting on the panel up, and then I go back to the corner and I shuffle it all in. Okay, we need, what? It's up here already? How? Was this the one we were working on yesterday? This is right? Let me double check the year. Do you have to shrink the pre-cuts? Yes, absolutely. The only thing the machine does is cut it. So 610. Oh, this is a 2010. We're close. Vehicles, search. Let's pull this back to 2010. Jeep Grand Cherokee. I mean, it looks like that. Are the pre-cuts always precise? No. And it also looks like that. Rounded, rounded. Rounded, rounded. This is more pointed. I'm gonna say we're this model here. I think it's a model change. Let's start with the quarter windows though. This is core. Oh, I could get them all out together. See, that's the question now. Do customers care about window film brands, or can I start with something cheap? Customers do care about window film brands sometimes. And it just depends on where your price points are and who you're marketing to. So yes, you absolutely could do something cheap, and there's a lot of people that do. But you can have film failures and all that. So, like, it's just, it depends on the type of business that you want to run. Because the difference in films is absolutely not just the brands. Better clarity, performance, longevity, all that stuff can matter, but it matters less when you're just doing it for like $100. But you also got to work way harder to make your money too. It's a volume game. I don't have tint slip for my Geo. What's the next best thing? I mean, I can't recommend it, but my favorite thing was baby shampoo with an ounce of Dawn. So, because baby shampoo by itself just wasn't strong enough. I tried 7th gen. I tried a whole bunch of soaps. All right, what happened here? Why did we not cut all the way through? Dawn doesn't leave streaks. Do any of the soaps leave streaks? Condition 1. Oh, you fucker. How did he do this? Daniel's giving plotter demonstration and not loading the blade in right. No wonder it didn't cut through all the way. Watch, now that'll cut through all the way. Two-stage versus bottom load? Well, I typically always two-stage, but there's nothing wrong with either one. I use Helios. Do you like Helios? Yeah, I've used them for a time. They're good. Look at that. Now it actually cut through. How about that? What window tint brands would customers pay $1,000 all the way around? Probably Expel, Lumar, Formula One, or 3M, specifically crystalline. Those are probably the only ones that you would really hear. But there's so many businesses that are selling some of those products and not getting those types of sales. So it's not just having, if it's just as simple as having the films, everybody would do it. You have to build a very hard business. It's tough. That type of business is very tough. Any of the films could sell for that. It's how you are as a business. The right sales guy, the right setup. I mean, we would have shitty sales at certain car audio accounts, and then we would get a different sales guy, and their numbers would drastically improve. They would go from being the worst store to being the best store. The magic is in the sales. Having a brand helps with people's belief. That goes from like the installer, right? If they're paying for what they feel like is the best film on the market, then they'll talk about it with more confidence. What you really need is just a good sales guy. And I was right. This is the right window shape for this one. Is this to look like a minion? That is to look like a minion, 100%. This in my car in 15C2 all around, would you do a 35 or 50% windshield to go with it? Ooh, so my favorite shade, here, I drive with 50. I like 35 better. 35 is the perfect balance between like privacy, glare reduction. You don't feel like it's too dark to drive around with. but I always felt like I'd get popped for it. 50 is light, but it still looks private. Not when the sun is shining directly on it, but like you get more privacy than you would think out of a 50%, and it just doesn't stand out a lot. So I think my preferred is really like 35 on the windshield, 15 on the front doors, and probably 5 on the rear. But what I actually drive around with and what most of my customers get, and 50 on the windshields, 20 on the front doors, that kind of stuff. I have 50 and 35, but most people get like 15 or 20 here. But it depends on where you tint, who you tint for. Can you do overnight shipping? I need tint slip tomorrow. It wouldn't get out fast enough to get there tomorrow. Then how can Amazon do it? I guess Amazon has a literal warehouse around everywhere people live. Then how can Amazon do it? Overnight's been such a I'll put it this way. You can, you might be disappointed with overnight. Sometimes it works out fine, and shit shows up. You can pay for it, and they will not guarantee it. It's super dumb. I've had overnight stuff take a week longer than just regular shipping. It's so stupid. Almost all window tint is made by the same parent company. It's a little more complicated than that. There are a lot of brands that use the same manufacturer for certain lines of film, but there's probably a few more manufacturers than you think, and not everybody is using the same films. But there are definitely going to be crossovers. That typically goes with like certain tiers. Hey, I'm live. Could I call you back after?
Of course. Yeah, we'll talk to him.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
What brands do you suggest? I mean, I'm using, oh, I got all cut up. I can't even like pull this off. Wow, that really got cut off. Let's just take this off the board then. Actually, I use Geo. I like Geo. I recommend what I use. Oh, every once in a while that works. More so on foreign cars, not so much on domestics. Sometimes this will stand up though. We'll see. Oh, look at that. I made it for 22 years. Yeah, for what company? A lot of people are using Guari. You shouldn't really show the license plate. Why, are you gonna stock them? Everybody sees my license plate when I drive around. We'll try covering it next time. So invest in an SEO guy and a sales guy. I mean, yeah, those are two good services. I mean, I'd probably sub out SEO guy with ad agency. Was it this one? No, no way. Oh shit, it is that. Eastman, but they sell to competitors as well. Our main brand was Lumar. Yeah, I know. They own Suntech. He bought Hooper Optic. But yeah, any manufacturer, they need to manufacture. So they just need to move as many rolls of film. So it makes sense for any manufacturer to sell to other ones. That's no secret. Dryer sheet. I just do a dryer sheet. I forgot about that. That takes time to dry. This setup is sick. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know how many, and there's nobody's going to be able to say. I don't know how many film companies Eastman sells to versus like Matico versus Guari versus the few in South Korea. Those are pretty much the most popular ones. And then you have like Nextfill over in California. ASWF, kind of. The plate thing cracks me up. I know. I still would like to put a Detroit Tint Studio thing over it. I just never, I still never got one of those. Oh. The dyeing process was difficult for other countries. Yeah, I think that's why they or that's why other countries do so much more carbon and ceramic. I mean, and Eastman's a giant chemical company. So it made sense that they would specialize in doing that. Manufacturing is really interesting. I messed up. I needed a spray. And my spray's over here. There we go. What are your thoughts on Autobahn? Autobahn's cool. I think they're gory. Does Autobahn have a carbon film? They're gonna make the front windshield look tinted? I don't want anybody to see inside. You tint it. I mean, that's what I'll do after I do this one. My front windows are 15, my back windows are 2.5 midnight. Midnight? Is that what we're calling 2.5? I don't hate that. So 5 is limo and 2.5 is midnight. Come pick my truck up, I'm right down the street. How about you drive your lazy ass over here and we'll tint it? We'll tint it on Monday. Should we go up a little higher? 25 Hyundai Palisade difficulty, probably a 6. I haven't done a 25 though. Palisades were always pretty easy. Is nano film? So nano is just a term. Like nano carbon, nano ceramic, there are good ones and there are bad ones. On the Explorers, can you use a 24-inch roll on the back glass? Yeah, definitely. Pretty short back windows. Why do the outside? Just to confuse chat. My front windshield is tinted 5 with 2 strips, but you can still see under a bit. And I've seen other cars where you can't see through the front. You look at your car too much. That's why. Shiny tint syndrome. You're gonna need to move the heat gun more. Okay. I'll try. All right, come here, little cart. If you have chrome tint, it blocks out more light. What? If you add reflections, it makes it harder to see into anything. So if you have a clear sky, it's easier to see in a vehicle. If it's cloudy out, it adds reflections, and then it makes even lighter films a little harder to see in. So, yeah, in a way, like if you have a lot of reflections and stuff, it's going to be harder to kind of see in at what's in there. But just from like a pure VLT standpoint, the darker you go, the harder it is to see in. So just tint it darker. But your interior color, time of day, that kind of stuff can impact that a little bit. Nice. That peeled really good. All right. So this is going to fall off unless I do something. There we go. Hey, did you get the corners pre-trimmed? That had something to do with it. Fan tip, I got one on this one. I have 2 adjustable ones on the other. Towel, 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 towel. If you stir your heat gun up, it lasts longer. Yeah, I don't care that much. What a goofy looking back window. I have a Jeep. What's the cost of this job? Everything with a windshield, $550. Ooh, let me get some gel. This would be a good one for it. What were the material costs? Oh no, chat's gonna get mad if I say that. That's Insta gel. We're gonna spray that on the edges on this one. What sprayer? I'm using a tint keg. 3-gallon tint keg over on that little cart. That, see that little cart over there? We're using Instagel. It keeps the edges cleaner. All right, Cora, let's see if you did a good job. Pretty close. Pretty close. Slight amount of trimming right in here, but we're overlapped, so that's good. But everything is going to line up. $30 over factory tint. So take 30% of 20%, and you'll get your answer. It'll be a little darker than 10%. It's a nice shade. So 20 over 20 is basically 5. It's like 4%. 30 over factory is I think, pretty nice. Noticeable difference, but not going quite as dark as the limo. See? A little bit of trimming there. And we'll do the same thing on that edge too. It's a lot more typical for, this reminds me of like an Escape where it had like the rubber trim going around the edges and it had a funny cut. When you get into that stuff, it's sometimes just like every vehicle is going to be put on just a little bit differently in a slightly different spot. But I think they could have tightened up the pattern a little bit more because there's definitely some space. Ten says 15 on front, 30 on back. I mean, it's pretty. You're doing that on a windshield or just the front doors? Say it's a little dark for a windshield, but yeah, 10/15 is nice on the front sides. I wish we had a 10. We should have a 10. Doors, okay. Yep, that's the way to go. I like it. All right, little heat gun. How's your camera set up? I just have an iPhone on a neck mount. The chat thing is on a computer. Do you think it's better to practice outside or focus on clearing your garage? Do you need me to be your motivation to clean out your messy garage? You know how many people want to practice tint that don't have a garage and would absolutely kill for a garage? Just go practice outside. If you clean out your garage, it's a significant quality of life improvement. I would clean out your garage. All right, we got to do the windshield on this one too. Have you thought about using SunTech? Okay, there's a post in my group. Yeah, I've absolutely thought about it for half a second and decided no. But there was a post in my group. Their dyed film was $350. Their carbon film was $450. And their basic ceramic was $650. So they're overspending on product by like 75 to 100%. There's a guy that said I pay $100 less per roll and we do 300,000 in film a year. And it's like, holy shit. You're just getting bent over. Suntech doesn't have any products that are better than Geo, but their prices are so much more. Ooh, reminds me to actually click on the live stream. Why didn't it update my thumbnail? It should be updating my thumbnail. And we'll do it now. Oh, I gotta save it. Save. Now I can take this guy. There we go. Suntech. Is it any worse quality? In some aspects, they have a dog shit scratch coat. The film curls, it has a bad scratch coat. I genuinely think Geo's a better product, but like you're not gaining anything by using them. That goes for Lumar. That goes for all of them. You're not gaining literally anything, just overspending on product. The one thing that you get is branding, and Suntech is just not known enough to make it worth that. If you're gonna use any film from Lumar, it should be Lumar. They bought Suntech a long time ago, and it's like their sister company. But I figured their prices were gonna be way more competitive. But spending $400 a roll on a carbon film is wild. I think Geo. I think I'd get pushback from them, but I would genuinely like to have a spreadsheet of everybody's pricing. There's a reason why a lot of these companies don't want their pricing public. And they don't want dealers talking about their pricing to other dealers because they have tiers and make it based on like volume. So if you're a higher volume dealer, you get a better discount, which I can respect that. But I figured somebody doing $300,000 a year in film orders would get more than $100 off a roll that they're already overspending on. Yeah, but then there's this repetition of, I don't know, there's this unlimited supply of people that constantly ask, like, because they see pretty brand and that's what they want to go with, and I totally get it. We all want a nice looking film, but good God. I didn't think Suntech was near that expensive. That's crazy. I figured they were their like more budget alternative to Lumar. So if you wanted to like save some money. Dryer sheet to remove static? No, dryer sheet to help with shrinking. It's like a light tack sheet. It'll make more sense when we start shrinking. I'll explain it again. You know that's actually tint slip. small business here. You've helped me a lot over the years, and I thank you so much for it. Oh, I appreciate that. Used and still use Geo for years. Just tried out Rogue. Honestly, very comparable. Great color. Nice. Appreciate that. Let's clean the inside. That's what we're doing. PPF? No, not right now. Where'd my other screwdriver go? Where did I put that? There should be 3 here. I know I got a little carried away and I left it somewhere. I don't remember where I left it though. Is it an all black one? No. It's the ratcheting ones.
Oh, it's
I remember it was one of those days that was just all over the shop.
it could be in the back of the
Attended for years. Interested in your process. Thank you for your insight. Yeah, for sure. Was that about Suntech? They must just be running on old business. I don't get it. This is a razor blade, by the way. This isn't a squeegee. Are you streaming through the Ray-Bans? I'm hoping sometime early next year we will be. They don't have that capability yet, but they announced a Streamlabs integration, which I'm hoping my ideal. So they have the new display. I would love to use the new display and have chat and be able to stream from them, but that probably won't happen. We'll probably only be able to do one or the other. And in that case, it's probably worth having a better camera position. No, I just got an iPhone and a neck mount right now. I start sweating when I have to put a screen protector on. Well, to make you feel better, I still will sweat to put a screen protector on. I have a lot more confidence with window tint because I go through the same thing every time. I sometimes get a screen protector on really well, and then I can clean it off 100 times, and then there'll be a little piece of dust. I have my wife do them instead. She's good at it. I'm trying to get into streaming. What would be a basic setup for streaming while tinting? Literally get a phone on a neck mount and stream to TikTok. It's really simple. You can get so deep into cameras and equipment and whatever. The single best thing that you could add is just going to be a microphone going directly to the phone. So then your audio is good all the time. I just do things a little differently because I like multiple cameras, even though I don't use them a whole lot. I like the technical aspect of it. I have fun with it. And we can stream more than TikTok. So baby steps with streaming. Yeah, and everything goes wrong. Even after you've done it 100 times, there'll be like the dumbest little things that go wrong. You'll be all set up and then it's like, oh shit. Why did that happen? I don't know. But it happens when you're live. All right, there we go. Successfully razored. This isn't mine. Where's my other? Oh, it must be in the back. There it is. I knew it. Let's take this, put this over here. Okay, so we got the glass clean enough. We still got to shrink a piece of film. So let's get 35. Oh, that was convenient. Almost like it's a popular choice. I reached out to Geo. They said to use 1 ounce J&J for a 32. Yeah, because they're not going to recommend using Dawn. I hated just using baby shampoo. Put a little bit of Dawn in there. I don't think it'll hurt anything, but it's nothing I can wholeheartedly recommend. But I know the feeling of putting the film on the window and then it just sticks. That piece of film didn't turn out well, did it? So fuck you. There's some Dawn in there. But here's the weird thing. Using only Dawn wasn't good enough. It would stick. And using only baby shampoo, it would stick. Using them both together was magical. They specifically said don't use Dawn. I know they did. They're a film company. They can't recommend using something that a chemist told them is not good for window film adhesives. But I'll tell you, I'm more installer. And you sometimes just have to get shit done. So, as much as I like Tint Slip, if I ran out and I'm in a pinch, that's what I'm using. There's nothing else. I mean, and I'll tell you, it depends on who you talk to in that company too. Because there's like a couple people that are actual installers and a lot of people that work there. And that goes with any film company. The installers really know. But in 2020, I think there's a live stream, and then we talked a lot about it after that. I still don't have any warranties coming back from the era that I used, because I used that for like 2 years. I used 3-gallon keg. I used 3 ounces of baby shampoo, and I used 1 ounce of Dawn. I don't have any comebacks still so far from when I used that back in 2020, 2021, and through 2022. Beginner film that you recommend? Out of GeoShield, the C2 is going to be the most shrinking friendly. Pro Classic is still really good. C2 shrinks a little smoother. How would you remove old tint adhesive? ATR is a really good window film adhesive remover. Also something that you can just go get today that works really well. It comes in a yellow, or it's a yellow solution, comes in a clear bottle. It's called LA's Totally Awesome. I think they sell it at Home Depot as well as like the dollar store. And this is a perfect example because I had to remove some adhesive recently. So this is ATR. And then this is LA's Totally Awesome. It ate its own lettering off of it. Is this ceramic tint? How is it shrinking so smooth? It's C2 ceramic, yeah. It's GeoShield. Most of their films shrink very smooth. I like slippery solutions. I'm the same way. My old trainer would tell me to put just 3 pumps of baby shampoo in a 32-ounce bottle, but that was horrible because it would stick. Yeah, a guy that I worked with, he preferred Dawn, and he preferred things to be stickier, and he would just bump the film more. I like to be able to place the film on the window and like gently slide the film to where it needs to go. And that's just, I don't know, I've always gravitated towards that. So like, tint slip isn't even perfect. Sometimes you have to address the window. But tint slip is stronger than baby shampoo, but it's still safe for window films. I want to make it stronger. Been tinting almost 5 years now with Geo. I'm still hit or miss on full windshields. Full windshields are still tough. Try gel. Gel can help a lot. Okay, I'm gonna check this. Contacts. Yeah, something is definitely wrong with importing contacts. Every single one of them says unknown, unknown. Yeah. Like if you look at the Detroit account, there's like 7 or 8 new leads. All their names are unknown, unknown.
So it only worked for 2 and then didn't work for like 12 or 9.
Mm-hmm. All the other details are right though. It's just the name portion.
Yeah, one of them didn't get the vehicle.
Oh. I parked my car in the garage with the windows rolled down. After days of raining, next day I could see moisture hazing inside the film. Is this normal? Parked my car in a garage with the windows rolled down after days of raining. Next day I could see moisture hazing in the film. Is this normal? I think it should clear up. From what I understand, the windows were wet. The inside of the door is wet. You roll the windows down. It's basically stuck inside of a pure, wet, humid environment. I think they'll clear up and be fine. I haven't had that exact situation, but I have had film sit on a table and just like stay wet, or like left it on a glass board. And it just like stayed wet for multiple days. And then you like install it, you wipe it off, and the film looks hazy. I can't really guarantee that everything will be okay, but it actually might clear up. Sounds similar to that situation.
Yeah, I've had it in like streets everywhere from like the pockets of wetness.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark agrees too. Why don't you use a plotter? Just curious. I do and I don't. So it depends on if I'm just trying to get things done a little bit quicker. If I want to be a little bit more exact with my cuts. I used it on the rear 3, hand cut the doors, and then I pretty much never use it on a windshield. I just don't trust the patterns on windshields personally. I've had too many of them not line up. Ooh, but I learned something yesterday for plotters and windshield strips that I want to show everybody. This is a core feature that I had heard about, but I never looked into it. My brother showed me yesterday how cool it is. If you want an easy way to make a windshield strip and you don't like the windshield strips that Core provides, you can make a straight one or you can make a curved one in like 2 seconds. And it's been an obvious, they've had an obvious button that I've just never really known what it did. So I'm gonna pull up a windshield on here. Let's go to vehicles. Let's grab windshield. Look at all these options. Sometimes it's really hard to tell which is which, but like you could grab one that exists. And let's say that one is gonna fit. And also you could grab just a generic blank, and let's add that too. So we'll do a couple examples here. Whoa, how'd that happen? So what we want to do is we have windshield number 1 that has a cutout, and we have windshield number 2 that's blank. You click on this button, cut down, and then it gives you a line that you can put straight across the windshield. But what makes this so cool is you click, and then you can drag it. And so you can make a contoured windshield on however much you want to contour it. Like, so it looks straight across the windshield, but you get to pick where that goes. So you can adjust, you know, how high or low, and add that curve to then make it look straight. So let's say I cut out their factory strip option and it didn't line up with this. Well, you could just take a blank and then do the same thing on the blank. So again, it's this cut down. Click on that. It just gives you, why does it keep doing this? Let me do this again. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps flipping. Cut down. That gives you just a line. You can place that anywhere on the windshield. You click, and then you have a little, I don't know if you can move the outside. It doesn't look like you can. You have this middle bit, and you can just drag this and make whatever type of strip that you want. You click cut. Oh yeah, you could do that if you want to as well. And then it should be like you grab your tool, and then there you go. Here's your strip. This is core. This has been a feature that has existed. I just didn't know. I'd seen some comments on it, but yeah. Anybody that's gone to, like, they're gonna have pre-cut visors. Like, look at how many options that they have, but they have so many windshield options too, that it's tough to know if like this one or this one or this one, like which windshield strip pattern do I need for this particular vehicle? And sometimes I've cut these out and they just don't line up. And so then I want to cut my own windshield strip, but what I assumed is I could probably do like a rectangle tool, and then it would just put a straight line, and that doesn't really fix my problem. But now it's as simple as like you just click, you add your own contour to it, you can put it as high or low as you want. So nice. I'm gonna make sure as many people know that as possible, because that is super cool. If you use Core, it's friggin' sweet. That's fucking awesome. Heck yeah, I didn't know that. My shop uses Core. Now you can look, take all the credit. Tell them, look what I figured out today. And you can look like a genius at your own shop. What does the contour do? Well, if you cut strips, you really know. But if I just take a piece of film and I'm trying to do a windshield strip, the flat edge of the film curves down. That's why there's so many windshield strips that have this bow to them. So by adding a contour, you can basically make it look like it's straight across the whole windshield. You no longer have that curve. But it gives you the flexibility to now put that curve anywhere. So if somebody wants a really low windshield strip, like it doesn't matter. You're not restricted to just doing the factory pre-programmed options. It's super easy to make your own. Core probably the best. I like it. I like it a lot. I've had the best success on patterns. It easily has the best interface. But the patterns have genuinely been super, super, super good. What headset do you run? This is a phone on a neck mount. I wish it was a headset. We've had some difficulty using headsets. All right, so we got the windshield ready. We're gonna clean this off. Can you read chat if it's on a head mount? I have ears. I could listen to it. All right, we're gonna gel the edges. It's our new favorite thing to do. We're gonna obviously gel around the matrix area. Core is $200 a month for window tint. It looks like 70%. It's 35. It'll look like 35 when everything's all closed up and the doors are closed up. For slip, I use Tint slip. I have a 3-gallon keg. So I add 3 ounces of soap in that keg. C2 by GL, did the 50, wish I went darker. I mean, did you do that? Is that on just your windshield or the whole thing? So weird, I like your breathing. Yeah, it's creepy. And also I need more cardio. That hasn't happened in a long time. Hang on. Nice. Oh, on a windshield? Oh, you do have a 40. You could have gone with a 40. Holding his breath. Yeah, now I'm self-conscious. I'm just not going to breathe for the rest of the vehicle. What brand? Where do you buy it? So this is Geo, and we have a site, 313tint.com. feel like cops are gonna stop me every chance because I want 25 on my windshield. They might. It gets less fun driving around with it if you're always worried about it, though. I honestly felt like that with 35. All right, so we're gonna carry this in. We're gonna not touch anything. I'm gonna take this, drape it over the steering wheel, support it from the bottom, and we have probably a foot of film just rolled out right now. We wanna get that on the window, all the way up the side. The sooner that you can anchor the far side, the easier everything's gonna be. From there, kind of get it in place, and you can start unrolling it. Bottom edge is a little bit tight. I'm gonna pull this back, use it to help us, and we can put a little bit more pressure on the film. But I'm gonna take this liner, and I'm gonna flip it over to this side. And then we're gonna be able to start unrolling the film. Don't do that, where's the end of my sprayer? That's definitely a little farther out than I like to be, but it'll work. Are you sticking with Instagel or the sauce? I'm gonna run through the whole bottle of Instagel and continue to use Instagel. Or sorry, did I say that right? I'm gonna run through the bottle of the sauce and still continue to use Instagel. I mean, I carry the same opinion that I think a lot of other people do. I see the value in having something a little bit thicker. I don't think in most situations that I run into, it's gonna be a make or break situation. We've been tinting for a long time without any gels. But there's no doubt they're absolutely a huge help. Having one that's thicker for window film helps more because it holds up longer when you spray a slip solution on it. But Instagel doesn't just like break down and drip down as soon as you hit it with slip solution. It still holds up too. It's just not quite as thick. So it's like Instagel is like a quarter of the price. So I'm sorry, that wins. Like what, a gallon of Instagel just to like is 35 bucks. A gallon of important sauce is like $125 or something like that. How much contamination is acceptable? As much as your customers are okay of putting up with, because they're paying for the job. Everybody's different. There's people that will genuinely be perfectly fine with a shit job. They just don't notice it. Some people notice swirls in paint, some people don't. If you're a detailer, there's so many things that you see that your average person does not see. Same thing as a window tinter. You will see far more than your average customer. So you should have a general impression of it being very clean. You shouldn't just have anything that sticks out really bad. And then for most people, that's gonna be okay. But you are gonna have people that are gonna see and be picky, and whatever your acceptable way of dealing with that is up to you. If people point out something small, we can explain like, hey, it's not a perfect process, we do our best. And then we typically step up and try and make it better. But we kind of leave that little caveat there where like, we're gonna try and make it look much better. Or if it's a situation where it's like, oh yeah, that obviously could look better, then we won't go into that explanation. But if there's something that we genuinely felt is like, yeah, I don't see why anybody would have a problem with this, but they do. We usually go out of our way to just replace it anyways. Then the customer sees that, oh, they aren't just trying to brush me off. What do you do to apply water to the window? I've got a 3-gallon spray tank here. That's what this thing is. I'm concerned about night visibility with the windshield with 70% ceramic. Everybody's different, so I can't guarantee you won't feel like it's dark, but 70% you genuinely have to point out is even on the window for people to realize that it's actually tinted, and even then, it just doesn't look tinted. $70 in ceramic doesn't really have any color. It just has like ceramic. So it doesn't carry the same type of black into the windshield. And also, window films are genuinely just easier to see through than looking at a vehicle. So when I close everything, it'll look dark. When I sit in the car and I look through, this is 15. This is 35. Like, they're just fairly easy to see through. Do you have any customers requesting full windscreen tint due to new blinding? We just tinted the full windshield. The majority of the cars that I tint are with the full windshield. Do you have a clipper? I don't have a clipper. Tried tinting my windshield yesterday and failed miserably. Don't feel bad. Windshields are tough. They're the hardest window on the vehicle. Do you get creases when you two-stage? We'll have some mild fold on the side where we folded the film. That's what I was gonna jump into right after this windshield's all set. But there's typically gonna be a little touch-up point right in here and right in there. But it just depends. If the seals are pretty loose, we don't have them at all. If they're tighter, they're gonna be a little bit more pronounced, but we can touch them up the same way every time. A little bit of heat, press out the air. You never see them. But we just wrapped up this windshield, so we're looking it over. Dude, this looks... I love my windshields. I feel so much like they're very, 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 very clean. They're very, very clean. I was very happy with them before. But doing windshields with gel is how I feel, or how I felt when I started using tape on side seals. You get used to seeing like a couple little specks on the sides. But just like everywhere. It's so... Dude, it's like, it adds some type of control. And you just feel better and more consistent about doing windshields. You're never not gonna see me use it on windshields. Doors is still optional. I think it's very helpful on doors. If you don't tape it, use gel. But in general, holy, so nice. Oh, I hope this will go on now. Here, let me take this off. Ah, there we go. I didn't try to remove this mirror much at all, and then it popped off. So I figured I could get it back on, but I was definitely unsure if we were gonna run into a little difficulty. These are twist-on style mirrors. And I'd say they're hit or miss on how easily they come on and off. So let's clip that back on. And then where's the sensor? I should have plugged this in too. Oh, thank you for the 10. You do a really good job covering the dash for windshields. I can tell you have a passion. I'm concerned some shops letting too much water in my dash or my heads-up display. I have a Mercedes AMG. Thoughts? Yeah, I think no matter what vehicle that you're working on, it should be standard practice to tuck a towel all the way into the dash, or have the soak rope with basically a towel touching that. But you're right. Some shops, dude, they just they can be really arrogant, or they have too many cars to tint. So they don't have time to be careful. Usually salespeople are gonna tell you what you wanna hear. By like, oh yeah, we'll take care of it, everything's careful, blah, blah, blah. But wherever you go, I would expect that if there was an issue, that they're gonna take care of it. So I don't know. It's a contractor skill. You get all types of people. Well, I gotta figure out how to get this back up in there. There was only half a housing on this one. Or do we have to wrap it around? Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. Let's get the rest of this all touched up. It's just a plastic housing that's going on one side of the mirror. And they have their microphone I gotta put back on. No. I'm not actively looking for a clipper. But I'm sure they would help. I got the floor tiles from Race Deck. I think there's a lot of options now. I started this section in like 2020. And then I filled out the rest of the garage in 2024. We've had it for a little bit more than a year. They're not indestructible. There's definitely some downsides. But they look super cool. So
What film and change did you do? I was just checking film.
I did C2 ceramic, 35 on the windshield, 15 on the front doors and the back.
All right, so 35 and 15.
Yeah. Yes. All right, back to this. Do we take out the stuff and then fix that? Are you looking for a clipper? Clip some stuff. See if it gets views. Let me know. All right, let's take a look. See. Do we pull this back out and reroute it? Where's the thing? I think so. I think that's what we do. Oh, and there's where his microphone goes. Okay. Okay. Yep. There we go. This is how it goes. That goes there. This clips back down. And this will probably fit in there a little bit better now. There. That clipped in there all nicely. So much pee. I feel like there's probably, like you could probably do some type of a live stream off of that inappropriate one, but it'd probably get some views. The serial peer or something. Good luck. So this clips in there. All right. I'll take it. At least you do good content, not embarrass yourself with brain rot. Yeah, I got my dignity, but I don't have views. If you have an IG I can send the clips to. Yeah. Could you just post them and see if they get views? Do you get spots on the window from using important sauce? I haven't seen it from either of them. So Insta-Gel or important sauce. The only weird thing that we noticed about important sauce is you want to make sure that you wipe all the excess really thoroughly. It dries into like, oops, it dries into a white powder. So if there's like drips of it on the panels or something like that, it would leave behind a white powdery residue. I don't see that with Insta-Gel. But I also haven't looked into that super hard. All right, so we're gonna close the doors. Look at that. Look at how, oh, let's close the back. Oh, this one. That looks nice. 35 on the shield. 15 on the front doors. 15 over factory on the rear. I like it. It looks nice. So mad respect for what you're doing. Love a channel run by a car guy for car guys and you teaching. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, like we have a Detroit Tint Studio account on pretty much every platform. If you make some, send them to me. I'll take a look. There definitely might be something there. I mean, we should probably have more clips out there. They help a lot. Okay, so this one is all set. I'm gonna pull this one out, and that's gonna be the end of it today. The stream's not gonna hold up outside, so I'm just gonna end it here.